Continuing on iPitch functionality, I want to show you something else we can do with iPitch is for calibration of ultrasonic bolts. Let's go into use setup. This is the bolt that you saw was on the setting. That's the same bolt with the load cell attached inside the load cell. Let's go back to the program. Okay. Now, as you monitor it, this is the load that's sitting in there. There is no load, and just in calibration mode, we want to calibrate this. Click on calibrate. So, since we have iPitch, these other buttons shows up below the standard buttons. To start with, we can click on Start Cal. We can see that ultrasonic signal is alive. We can zero it. And before that, and also our load shows a 0 kilonewton. Let me cancel this and explain something. In here, we have to make sure the load cell is calibrated. Load input is, we have channel 2, and as we have done it before, we have all the calibrate. We don't have to do this part, but just to make sure we can do it for calibration. So that load cell is calibrated with MC950. In here, calibration time, let's say it would take 10 seconds to do calibration. And let's say trigger value at 1 kilonewton, it would take data and go for 10 seconds and record and stop recording. Coming back here, we can look at the setup for the iPitch. We can close on tension, control on tension. Let's say it goes up to 20 kilonewton with 10 RPM. And then let's just back off at the end and stop. Same control that we had before. And let's say back off around 360 degrees. So that's our control strategy. We're ready to go. We can click Start first and zero the ultrasonic signal and make sure this is close to 0 also. Then we have already done our setup. We can run the iPitch. So it's gone to its, you have to let it go all the way to when it's done. Okay. So what happened, it took all the data, and if you look at it, and it takes the ultrasonic data and load data at the same time and comes up with the calibration curve. You will not see the same graph as you saw in the main window because we're only doing calibration. We're not collecting anything else. We're only collecting tension data and ultrasonics. If you notice, we can cancel this. If you noticed, let's see. Okay. Let's go back. If you, there is, in here, in the control part, if we come back here, if I put on torque, you will not see anything because it's not controlling the torque. It requires tension in order to do the calibration. So that's what we have. If you put on tension, it will work. One thing about the tension and torque, we can always stop the torque and tension when it reaches the yield and stops in case you don't want, if you don't want to break the bolt, but it will continue on. If you click on this box, it will go into enables the yield control. Yield control is based on the slope of the slope of the values of whatever we see on the y-axis in here, tension, and it will work based on degrees. You can work on based on degrees, or you can just click on 4% peak drop. If the tension drops by the peak of the tension or torque drops by 4%, it will stop. That is your yield control. It might not work in tension, but it will work on the torque. So I'll explain this more in detail in the main window, so we have torque that we can play with.